All right, Coach, trying something new this year. Going to do this as a podcast instead of a TV show. Looking forward to talking to you, maybe covering some topics away from football as well as football. But I want to ask you first, do you listen to any podcasts?
I do at times.
Uh-huh. Maybe not so much in season.
On a walk or a run, maybe. When I have some free time, I'll put on a podcast.
Mhm.
But sometimes I'm listening to an audiobook. There's a lot of different things. When I'm by myself that I listen to, but then half the time my wife's with me, so that's our time to kind of talk and connect.
Yeah, you don't want to drown her out with the podcast.
That's right.
All right, we're going to talk a little football and then kind of branch out. So let's talk about this past week. We're 2 weeks into the season. Everyone was talking about Sam. We're going to get a chance to talk to him a little bit later. But from my vantage point, he's quarterbacked, I think, 12 drives, and you guys haven't punted yet when he's been on the field. So just, has he been as good as you expected, better than you expected? What's your assessment of Sam at this point?
I don't know if I had a ceiling for what my expectations were for him. I think he's done a tremendous job from the moment he decided to come to Notre Dame till now of just handling all the different things that have been thrown at him.
Mm-hmm.
He is a mature young man, and he is an excellent football player. We all can see that, but there's so many other intangibles that he has that are so impressive to me. The way he handles the media, the way he handles people need him for different things. Shoot, we had him. He was the fishing coach for my kids. My kids wanted to go fishing, and he was their fishing coach. And so he is just an awesome person. But he is really just done a great job in his transition here.
How has he made your job different then in year two? I just get the sense like having him as the quarterback just makes the head coach job, I don't want to say easier, but just different in year two, right?
Yeah, I mean, you coach to your personnel. He's a different person than maybe Drew or Tyler was last year. And
right.
I'm not talking about talent-wise. I'm talking about, what he needs from his head coach. Right? I'm not his offensive coordinator. I'm his head coach, and each person needs something different from their head coach. And so I try to be that for Sam. He makes it pretty easy, There's not a lot in these first couple games I've had to say to him other than just one play, one life. Keep just doing what you're doing, but he's just done a really good job, man, and he does. He makes my job fun, but he makes our team pretty dang good.
Is there a moment this year that stuck out? I'll give you mine, and maybe it's the same one, but like the 2-minute drill, or I should call it like the 38-second drill he ran against Tennessee State, 6 of 6 for 80. Like that was just, I sat back and watched, and I know you're playing an FCS team, but still, the way he managed the clock, didn't even use the timeout, like that was where I said, okay, this guy's kind of got it all figured out. Is there a moment that sticks out to you so far?
You know what? I think back to that game, and early in the game we might have scored, but it wasn't as clean as we wanted it to. And I remember him looking at me saying, we're good. I didn't need to go up to him and get on him and try to tell him to go fire up the offense or get these guys going. He looked at me and was like, Coach, we're good. Because he knew it wasn't clean. He knew we didn't start that game off the way we really wanted to, and he handled it, right? And so that's just such a great sign of leadership. J.D. Bertrand the other day, we had somebody come late to a meal, and it's so funny. They all were expecting me to lose my mind, and J.D. Bertrand addressed it before I even had to say anything. And so I just said, okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
And so that leadership is infectious, man. And when it's player-led, it's powerful.
The fact that it's now your third year, just kind of following up on that, do you find it easier to know that like the guys you've been around now, like JD's been here obviously even longer than you, but like he's going to police the team. You don't have to take on that role. You have the stuff you can focus on. You have the leadership in the room, and Sam comes in and kind of fills that void too. Is that kind of the makeup of this team now that you've been around for 3 years?
Yeah, I think that was the next step for certain individuals, right? And that was something that I kind of challenged JD with, is that we need you to be a vocal leader. We need you to hold guys accountable. Your job is to truly make those around you better. And that's what real leadership is. And so what you've seen him and Sam and some of those guys do is take and run with it, and truly get outside their comfort zone. It's not always an easy thing to hold your peers accountable, but leaders do it. And they were named captains for a reason. And it's just been really good to see, this place attracts leaders. But to see guys get outside of their comfort zone has been really satisfying to see as a head coach.
Sam's gotten a lot of the headlines, which I think is fair. He's playing well. But the position group that I'm just fired up about is running back.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there's such an interesting balance there. Audric, of course, is really fun to watch, but it really seems like at this point he's gotten half the carries, and the other 4 guys are splitting the other half, and they're all so dynamic. As a head coach, when you have 5 guys like that, how exciting is it for you?
Oh, it's exciting, but it's a challenge, and it's a challenge for Coach McCullough and Coach Parker to. I think all humans are naturally. They have a little bit of selfishness to them.
Sure.
They want the ball. They want to be the one that scores the touchdowns, and the thing you're seeing is whenever the ball is getting into their hands, they are making something happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're all making big plays, but they're truly being unselfish. They're truly supporting each other, and it's just a great reflection of Coach McCullough and Coach Parker and what our offensive staff is doing with that group.
Last thing I wanted to ask you about this game, on the field at least, was Steve getting into the game and getting the quarterback the entire second half. I of course, have vivid memories of the walk-off touchdown 2 springs ago, and then he, of course, played a lot in the last spring game. But for him to get real reps against an opponent, to me, I mean, at least you look down the road, that's really valuable for him going forward. But to see a guy that's putting a lot of work in on the field, what would that mean to you?
No, it was just great to see, and I didn't realize it in the moment. It was funny. I think back to my conversation with Coach Gaduli. I said, "Hey, Sam's out," and I made the decision after that 2-minute drive.
Okay.
Right. I said, "Okay, now it's 35-3. I want to get Steve in meaningful minutes." And Coach Gaduli was like, "Just one series in the second half?" I said, "Nope, get him out." And I said, "Put Steve in." And I wanted Steve. There's a little bit of pressure on you when you go out and you're the quarterback for the second half. Like, you know, it would have been a little bit different if Sam comes out in the second half and scores on that first drive. And now, I wanted pressure on him to come out and start fast. And, you know, when we watched film as a staff on Sunday and to see some of the checks he was making, recognizing what the defense was doing on the first 3rd down, he sees a corner blitz, he throws it out to JT, and Steve played really, really well. And he took a couple hits, stood up, and I was really happy for Steve and the confidence he gave me and our staff and our team. You know what? He did a really, really good job.
Let's talk about Tennessee State. It was a cool weekend for a lot of reasons. I think, obviously, first HBCU coming on campus. From my standpoint, when I was with men's basketball 2 years ago, or doing the radio games, we went to Howard and played on an HBCU campus for the first time ever on Martin Luther King Day. So that was pretty incredible, I thought. And I was talking to Ryan Harris on the radio broadcast. This obviously felt very different because you're bringing one on this campus. But kind of the same vibe, same energy about kind of what it meant. You as the head coach, just what did it mean to play that opponent for the first home game of this year? What were your takeaways from the weekend?
Oh, I thought it was special. I thought it was just a special weekend for both institutions. You know, anytime you got a chance to make history, I think that's something that's really special and that I was so grateful to be a part of. And then, you know, as you look at my personal relationship with Eddie George, there's actually 2 other coaches on their staff that played football at Ohio State that one I played with, the other one I know really well. And so to be able to share that moment with those guys that I have personal relationships with was extremely just a great moment. And you know what? I just said this a couple of days ago. That team was better than we thought, right? That is a talented football team. And I told Eddie George after game, you have a talented football team that the scheme they did offensively and defensively it took a second for us to adjust to it because it was things we didn't see on film. And I think that's a really good football program too.
I heard from a source that your parents were at this game. Is that true? So
Yeah.
what was it like for them to be there to watch this game and what it meant to them?
Yeah, this was only the second home game my dad has been able to make. You know, he came to the Marshall game last year, and he's never admitted to it, but he hasn't come back since. And so, and my mom's been to a couple. You know, my mom loves to come up here and spend time with the grandkids. That's really why she comes.
Yeah. Just an excuse to come see the 6 grandkids,
exactly.
right? I got you.
But it was great. You know, I got a chance I didn't even know they were staying in the same hotel as us, and so I got a chance to see them on Saturday morning. Just spend time. You know, you don't know how long you're going to have your parents, and I have to do a better job of appreciating those moments and, you know, really being present when they're here. And so Anytime I can convince my dad, my mom I can convince easily, to convince my dad to come up here and see a Notre Dame game, it's a moment that I will cherish.
You know, you've talked about it a lot with wanting to be, I think you said it in maybe your first press conference, that you wanted to have your players see you be a parent, be a dad. And I think that was the first time, at least, that I've seen it. Like, I've heard Sam talk about it a lot. So when you hear now one of your players, and he's older, he's probably got, he's wiser and got more perspective than some of these young guys coming in. But as we all get older, we get that perspective. Like you said, like you want to be around your parents more. You want to be around your kids more. To hear him kind of talk about it and I assume have the impact that you're trying to have on your players, what does that tell you about what you're doing?
It's a reminder of what it's really about. And, we're evaluated off of wins and losses. And that's why you're here, but the impact you can make on young people as a husband and a father and at one day being even a son, right? And that I think someone got a chance to see me interact with my parents. Like, that's what really will last for a long time. Those were some of the greatest lessons I learned as a young person. Okay, that's what it means, even from my parents or from my coaches. Oh, that's what it means to be a husband. That's what it means to be a father. And those are the things that will last forever. And it's not the things we say, right? And we often think as coaches it's the things we say, but it's what they see. And that's more important than anything. We have to remember these eyes are always on us. They watch everything we do. And we better be making sure we're setting the right example for them.
You just brought something up totally off topic. That's the beauty of the podcast, though. So I always think about coaches. Like, I would ask Coach Bray about this because they have 5 media timeouts a half. So he talks to his team for like 2.5 minutes every 10 minutes for 2 hours. Like, do you run out of things to say? And so as the head coach, you talk to them. You said, like, it doesn't matter what you say, it's your actions, but, like, you have to talk to them a lot. Do you ever find yourself going into a meeting and being like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to wing this one. Like, I don't have anything new to tell these guys. Do you ever run out of stuff to say? Or you always have something?
Well, because if I don't have anything important to say, I don't have a meeting.
Okay.
And I've done that before, saying, hey, here's the practice schedule, let's go. Because what you don't want it to ever be is that your voice is wasted, right? And so the things you say are important, right? And so I have to make sure I spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to say. I don't like to go on and on and on because you'll lose them. Now you're just wasting your breath, And so what is the point of this meeting? What impact am I trying to make right now in this meeting?
Okay.
And a lot of it is consistency, because if every time I get up there I'm saying a different message, what are they going to remember?
Right.
But a lot of times I'm reinforcing the same things depending on what situation we're in. I'm reinforcing the same things over and over. And I often say to those guys, don't expect me to say anything different, because this is what I believe you need to be thinking as we take the football field. This is what I think you need to be thinking as we get within a series and during a timeout. A lot of times it's the same thing, but and those TV timeouts can be pretty long. And a lot of times I just pace, and if, hey, I need to grab the quarterback, or hey, I need to say something. But I like to let the position coaches truly grab their position and get the X's and O's and make the points they need to make.
Have you found that become easier here in the year 2? Because I imagine year 1, at least if I was thrust into your position, I'd be thinking I need to fill the air with all of my thoughts and all of my stuff. And like you said, in year 2, you find it easier to kind of know when to talk and when to let the other guys do their thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you spend a lot of time around me, I don't like a lot of silence, right? I just don't like sitting in silence with other people around. But again, I'm hopefully, I don't want to say smart enough, but I'm hopefully mature enough to understand I don't need to be the voice every time, right? And that we have a great group of coaches that, their voices a lot of times are more powerful than mine. I tell them all the time. So we sit in meetings as a coaching staff and I say, these are the things we need to be reinforcing to our guys in our room, because I can have a 5-minute meeting and say these things, but if you're not reinforcing these things in your position meeting rooms, it's not going to be important to the kids. So we have to make sure our messaging is aligned.
I want to ask you about 2 weeks ago, Ireland. I got sources all over this campus, so I heard that was your first trip outside of the country other than a cruise. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I've made a pit stop in Canada for recruiting, but
North America.
Yeah, you don't get to that's if you're there recruiting, that's not really.
If you can make it there also by land or by car, I don't think it really counts. Like Canada, Mexico, all due respect, it doesn't really count the same. So Ireland, I know business trip, you guys are there to do a job, but did you get a chance to do anything that stuck with you Irish-wise that makes you want to go back or get back over there?
I do want to go.
Yeah.
I want to go for pleasure. I want to go with my wife and kids and experience it. But we went to a dinner, and we had Irish music and dancers, and it was like really cool to see them perform. Our players were getting into it. It was a great experience. The thing I remember the most is the driving, right? The driver being on the other side,
wrong side,
right? And then how narrow the roads are. Like,
holding your breath.
There's no way I could drive my car in Ireland. And now you don't see a whole bunch of big SUVs over there either, because those roads are so thin. And so, but it was beautiful. There was one day my wife, she said, she looked out of the balcony. We were having a walkthrough at our hotel, and then you could see all these hills and green. And she was like, it was the most beautiful picture seeing your team walking through, like doing football stuff. And then you look and you see Ireland behind it. It was amazing. So I hope to get back soon.
There's a lot of people I've talked to that got to go on that trip. I was here in South Bend. I love South Bend, but it's not Ireland, and I'm still resentful of everybody that got to go over there. There was a great article about you. I think it was in The Athletic. I think Pete Sampson wrote it, about how involved you are with other teams. And I've seen you just on, like, I follow the other team's social media channels, and I'll see you talking to them either before or after a game or whatever it might be. I see you at the basketball games a lot. I look around the country, and like everyone talks about, and I'm sure it is a difficult job, like how tough and time-consuming the head football coach job is, specifically here at Notre Dame. Why do you get so involved with these other teams? Why do you go to so many events? Why is that important to you? Because it seems to be something you prioritize, to not just go to the occasional game, but go to quite a few, and then kind of, it sounds like, be invested in a lot of these other programs.
Yeah, I think number one is I'm a fan. Like, I love this place. I'm a Subway alum, right? That's what they call us. And I want to see, our teams have success. And sometimes I want to go just as a spectator and not the head coach of the football team.
Yeah.
Right. And I love to watch competition, but I want to see us have success. Now, the second part of that is this place almost, it's not huge, right? South Bend, Indiana, University of Notre Dame isn't this big, huge campus. So we've become kind of a community. The relationships you build with some of those head coaches, you're fans of them. You want to see them succeed. And that's why I want them to know I support them. And I know they're supporting our football program, but I want their programs to know that the head coach of the football team is supporting them too. And I want to see them have success.
Is there something you've picked up from a coach in particular in a meeting or a conversation, or just even observing, I don't know if it's a practice or a game, that stuck with you that you've thought was really valuable? Because there's some amazing coaches on this campus that have been here forever. Is there something that sticks out that you've learned?
Yeah, I can go on and on. I mean, every sport that I've gone to, every coach I've listened to talk, is really, it's really intriguing to hear how other coaches lead their teams, and I have a really coach relationship with Niel. We've spent a lot of time together, and the success they've had is just tremendous, and credit to her for leading those girls. I've really become invested in Maddie's from my hometown in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So I always cheer for her. But it's just really, really cool to be around him. And then I've spent some time with Muffet. You know? And so to see the dynamics of Muffet to Niel to just that women's basketball program is great. And I can go on and on. Micah, I love the times we spent together and what he's going to do with our basketball program. And trust me, I could list everyone from hockey to baseball to soccer. Our softball team, Deanna, I've spent some time with her. She's a good spades player.
Oh.
Yeah, we spent some time on
the cards right here. I was going to ask you about spades. So are you a big spades guy?
I'm a spade. I can go spades, euchre. And there's this game I can teach you called Boo-Ray. But
Boo-Ray, isn't that what all the NBA guys play on the plane?
Yeah, it's probably started in the professional leagues, but we won't play for that type of money. We'll lower the stakes.
We got to lower the stakes if I'm going to play with you. I have a hunch. I can't keep up. Okay, we'll set this up. We got the cards. We'll do it next time. We'll show them how to play Boo-Ray.
Let's do it.
I want to ask you about one more thing as it relates to golf. I've heard I've heard you're trying to pick up golf. I think you said Sam's a good fishing coach. I think does he play a little golf
Yeah,
too? I think
all quarterbacks can
all
golf.
quarterbacks golf,
Mm-hmm.
right? What's the status of your golf game these days?
Very bad.
Very bad?
Very
Okay.
bad.
Yeah.
I am a private golfer. What does that mean is that if anybody's around, I'm not golfing. The only person I'll golf with is my son, and he's better than me. I went to Hawaii for vacation this summer, and I was able to go golfing at one of these. It was in the Big Island.
Okay.
In one of the
There's great golf out there.
Yeah, one of the most beautiful golf courses. And it kind of gave me an itch. I hadn't golfed in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And then so we came back here, and I was able to go golfing once or twice, but I stink. It's pretty
Okay.
embarrassing. And
Okay.
so until I improve, I'm never going to golf in front of people.
And this is not your golf season either. You're not golfing a lot right now.
No. I don't know if I ever have a golf season. That's the problem. You
That's
don't
true.
have a time to get better at it.
We could start some drama though if we just took some photos of you out on the golf course and get the message boards going.
Yeah.
Why is Coach Freeman golfing on a Monday before NC State needs to be locked in watching film? That's kind of my goal this year, is to start some kind of controversy about why is he talking about golf or why is he playing so many cards. His focus is not on football. That's all I got. I think this is a good first episode for us. I think we
Yeah.
covered a few good topics.
I love that.
I'm excited to talk about a little bit more than just X's and O's.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll give you one more football question, actually. We'll get out of here on this. NC State. Let's let people hear about what you think going into the first road game of the year.
Yeah.
What are you focused on? What are you excited about? I mean, to me, it's like we're going to see the rubber meet the road a little bit this week with a different kind of test.
Mm-hmm.
What are you kind of honed in on for this game?
Well, when you think about a macro picture, you think about Saturday, it's going to be an extremely challenging environment, a challenging opponent. 3 really good coordinators and a head coach has done a great job
Mhm.
there, and a talented quarterback. And I can go on and on. They've won 16 out of the last 17 at home. And so that's the macro picture of how difficult this challenge is going to be. The micro focus is today. And we have a team meeting, coming up, and the challenge will be win today. We have to beat NC State today.
Mhm.
And we got to make sure our practice and our meetings are better than theirs today. And that will take care of Saturday. And
Right.
so we know there's a challenge on the horizon on Saturday, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You got to focus on winning today.